Why do big influencers with a million of subscribers are selling their collection of designer bags? Is luxury dying? Is designer bags over? In this video, I'm going to tell you the real reasons behind the selling designer bags collection, what big influencers don't want to tell you about what's going on. If you don't know me, I'm Alice, I'm French, and I review over the years more than 100 mid-range luxury bags. A few years ago, I started to switch from designer bags, Chanel and everything, from more affordable mid-range luxury bags. At this time, I was the only one to talk about brands you never heard about. So please do not forget to check below the video and do not forget to check all my mid-range luxury handbag reviews. But let's start with Lydia Millen, the big British influencer with millions of subscribers. I love her. She's really inspiring. I love her content. But she announced a few weeks ago that she's selling a Hermes handbag collection. This is a big announcement from Lydia Millen because from what I remember, she was really into designer bags and especially Hermes handbags. Every time over the years she bought an Hermes bag or a new designer bag, she made what we call an unboxing. We all remember a handbag collection on YouTube also featuring Hermes, Chanel, all these designer expensive handbags. So for Lydia Millen, this is a big shift, a big announcement, and she's not the only one who started this huge shift. My point is that they don't tell you the whole reasons, and I really want to tell you why they are all selling their designer handbags. And the first reason they are all selling their designer bags is the end of the fake designer bags bubble. Over the years, the big influencers have created what I would call the toxic designer bags influencer culture. A few years ago on YouTube and social media, when you got a new designer bag or a new super expensive bag, it was very trendy and popular to showcase your designer bag collection, to make an unboxing. And many influencers or big influencers made a lot of money and a lot of views coming from that. It was so easy to make views and money, talking in front of a camera, showcasing your designer bags. It was the easy way to make views and to gain also popularity on YouTube. This time, I've simply ended. It has ended on YouTube. Now designer bags doesn't get the views they used to get. You didn't get new followers on social media just by showcasing your designer bags. The more you were showcasing your designer bag online, the more subscribers, followers you gain. And you had this huge toxic culture promoting, I would say, a fake bubble. Because yes, what they didn't tell you this time, they didn't tell you that many of these designer bags were fake first, a lot of fake, to the point that some people on social media started to chase people or influencers who showcase fake Birkin, fake Chanel. So people started to realize that there are so many fake online. Yes, some of these influencers cannot afford a designer bag. Others, also big influencers, were also very dependent of the big golden area on YouTube. When they get a lot of views, a lot of followers, a lot of partnership, collabs, so they were also very dependent of this type of lifestyle. And once everything stopped also online, and it's very brutal, they lost also their income, their huge income, and they also cannot really continue to buy this type of designer bags. My point in this video is to say that there is this huge fake designer bag bubble, super toxic, that started to end online. Once you know that, designer bags start to lose their appeal. And it was my case a few years ago. I was this Chanel designer bag girl. And once I realized all that behind the scene, that some of them were fake designer bags, some of them are willing to do a lot of immoral stuff or bad stuff to get designer bags, you realize that really a Chanel bag really lost its appeal. And the second reason why people are selling their designer bag is the fact that surely but slowly, luxury is dying. I don't think luxury per se is dying. I think designer brands, and I really want to separate luxury to designer brands, are really dying. If you watch the recent sales from LVMH, for example, Kering, Gucci, all these brands, their sales have dropped dramatically this last month. Luxury is not dying, but designer brands for sure. People are really tired of the loss of quality. For example, this type of bag that used to be handmade in France, in small atelier boutique in Paris. Everything used to be handmade 20, 30 years ago, taking a lot of time, a lot of work, a lot of hours. The quality was top-notch 20 years ago. Today, the quality is not the same. This bag that retails today around 8,000 to 10,000 really lost its quality, while the price have skyrocketed. Not to mention also how they treat the customer, something that nobody tell you on YouTube, but today, for example, at Hermes, I think this is a big thing at Hermes. Today, Hermes, for example, is really mistreated the loyal customer, the customer who have both Hermes bag for 20, 15 years. And when I say they both an Hermes bag, they both an Hermes bag every single year, every, 6 months, whatever the quota they can afford. And something that is going on, it's all over social media. Right now, Hermes prefer to treat people who have a lot of followers, for example, the new influencers with 500,000 followers, of million of followers, and disregard slowly the loyal customer. So this is the main reason why they are all selling also the designer bags. Why continue to showcase bags, to buy a designer bags also, when you are poorly treated, when the quality has dropped, and when you can afford maybe 10 or 20 bags from different brands, lower price but higher quality. The next reason that big influencers won't tell you about why they are selling their designer bags collection is the fact that also designer bags is not a social proof anymore. Designer bags, and especially Chanel and Hermes, were considered as ultra luxury. They are ranked at the top of the luxury bag pyramid. They were considered as social proof, meaning that it's the symbol of you are really rich and you are really wealthy. Let me tell you a secret. Plus près. Designer bags are not social proof anymore. Oh, let me give you a real example so you can really understand what's going on. 10 years ago, Louboutin shoes, for example, this pair of shoes that retail around 500 or 800 euros, they were considered, I'm talking about 10 or 20 years ago, they were considered as a very good social proof shoes, meaning that if you were wearing Louboutin shoes, you were a rich girl, a girl coming from a super wealthy family, or someone who really made it so you can spend 800 in a pair of Louboutin. But something happened. Unfortunately, Louboutin became extremely popular. When I say popular, is that Louboutin started to be worn by people who don't have the lifestyle, but they want to fake it until you made it. And unfortunately, wearing a Louboutin shoes when you don't have a lifestyle, when you don't have the real social proof that comes with a Louboutin, you are slowly but surely downgraded the brand, to the point that Christian Louboutin himself saying to the press, "Stop wearing my Louboutin shoes if you don't have the money or the lifestyle." And it is exactly what is happening to designer bags, and especially Hermes bag online. I cannot stop thinking about the fact that, let me tell you another secret. The person is more important than the bag. Let me repeat it. The person is more important than the bag itself. Yes, the person who is wearing the bag is more important than the bag itself. Meaning that all these people who are wearing designer bags without the income, without the success, social proof, without the wealth, are slowly but surely downgraded the brand. And I think it is exactly what is happening to the designer bags today. And this is something also Lydia Millen also mentioned in her video. Nobody mentioned it, but she said that she doesn't want to be associated with certain people online.
Looking online and I'm seeing content that I don't love to feel like I'm a part of.
Meaning that today wearing an Hermès bag or Chanel bag doesn't mean anything. And it certainly doesn't mean that you made it to the top. The next reason they are all selling their designer bags is definitely safety and security. This is something Lydia Millen talked a lot in her video. She just explained that when she goes to London, usually she's extremely worried about being robbed, being attacked. And I think we've all seen these bad videos about what is going on in London right now. It is not safe. The same thing here in Paris. I live in Paris. I totally understand the safety concern. I do think it is genuine from Lydia Millen. She has over millions of subscribers. Everyone can check online where she lives. Everyone can check her designer bags collection. Everyone can track Lydia Millen. And there are a lot of professionals online that track big influencers like her. It's not worth to own a 10K designer bags knowing that you can be robbed, attacked. Anytime, there's always this very invisible threat around you. It's not worth, and I totally understand a concern about safety. And the last reasons why they are all selling the designer bags, this is a reason why probably they won't tell you online, but it's also for strategic reasons and collabs also. So a few years ago, we have seen also this shift from designers, logo brands to more understated and quite luxury bags. Bags that don't show off any logo, bags that are more understated. And it's really more than a trend, I think, because a trend usually disappears after a few months, a few years. It's still here. It's still here. There's still Google search about the best white luxury bag. People are still demanding new brands. So I think this is a long-term trend. And of course, many YouTubers, many influencers were into and piling into the designer handbags. We've seen also the views dropped very sharply. And many of them, strangely, have made this shift. Some of them also completely shift to something else. Others made this shift that is not really authentic. I'm not going to say it's very authentic. When for years you were really prone designer, super expensive handbags, and one day you finally find that Gucci, Louis Vuitton is not super nice, and you shift towards studs. And really, sometimes it doesn't make any sense because for some influencer, it doesn't match even the taste or the style, so it's really weird. Lydia Millen is going to also partner with Mulberry. She's going to launch her handbag, her own collection of handbags. I think it's super great. It's super exciting. I can't wait to see this new handbag made from Lydia Millen. Again, I love Lydia Millen. But yes, there are a lot of strategic reasons behind that. I mean, it doesn't make sense if you make your own handbag to still wearing Chanel, Hermès. Another reason, and I'm going to spill the tea in this video, I think something is going on with Hermès. I talk about it at the beginning of the video, but like I said, it's going on, it's here, it's on social media, it's not a fake news, it's not a news. Yes, Hermès is treating poorly is loyal and very wealthy customers. Okay, it's not something, it's online. And they are now really promoting big influencers, women with over millions of followers. They just don't care of the loyal customers anymore. They just care of how many followers you have and if you're famous or not. And I think, I'm not sure about it, but let me know what you think below the video. I saw women with less followers than Lydia Millen, but because they are, they are younger, they are more modern, they have this edgy twist. Again, it's all about marketing. These followers have been invited by Hermès. Recently, I see many big influencers, younger with modern look, maybe a little bit edgier, super trendy big influencers, being invited by Hermès in their recent catwalk, for example, in Paris for the spring-summer défilé. And these big influencers that are super young and super trendy, they don't own any Birkin bag. Let me repeat it. These big influencers with 500,000 followers, they are not a loyal customer to Hermès. They don't own any Birkin bag. Maybe a belt, a few accessories, but they don't own any bags. So I think if you are big influencers with over millions of followers, you have been buying from Hermès for a decade. You have dropped probably 500,000, 50K into Hermès. You have a beautiful collection of Hermès bags you have been promoting for years on YouTube or on Instagram. And suddenly you are seeing these new trendy influencers, very young, very trendy, very popular for the moment. Very popular at the moment. They don't own any Hermès bag. They don't make any videos about the Hermès bag. I think I can understand at some point, I totally get it, but at some point you decided to sell your own designer bags collection. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video about the reasons why we are all selling the designer bags. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know of your opinion about what I am stating in this video. I will be super interested to know your opinion about what's going on. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to follow me also on my other social media. And again, if you love mid-range luxury handbags, check my other videos, and I see you very soon, very soon for another video. Bye.